Welcome everybody.
So today we are joined by the lovely Sophie, who is here today to discuss her journey with cervical cancer. Just a trigger warning, if that's something that you may find distressing, then just switch off now and we will be back next week with another episode. So let's just get straight into it. How are you feeling, Sophie, about being on today?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
Are you nervous?
I am a bit nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's good to talk about things.
Yeah.
That's the main thing for me and Kaylee in having this podcast, is to talk about things that people don't like to talk about or shy away from.
Yeah.
And just sticking it out there.
Yeah. So just start from the beginning. Obviously, you're a mum to two, aren't you?
Yeah.
How old are the boys now?
I've got 12, new 13 and 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How's that teenager coming on?
Fun. Fun. It's a new one for me, but yeah, I'm learning through all the hormones.
Yeah.
My hormones, it's a lovely mix.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, obviously, we've been girls, we've been teenagers,
Yeah.
but we haven't had the boy teenager. We've had the girl as teenager.
Oh, my God, honestly, I rip my hair out with her every
But I wonder
week.
if it's different having the boy teenager.
They're not easy.
No.
Honestly,
really?
people say they're easier. I don't think they are.
Really?
And I'm one of, 3 girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say boys are just as hard work.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear Lord.
Got it all to look
We're
forward
thinking
to.
of you.
Let's start with your diagnosis, I guess. Did you just go for a routine check, or how did it all happen to begin with? Were you having any symptoms?
I had symptoms for a couple of years, but obviously I was already under gynae, which, now looking back at it, I was under them for 8 years.
Wow.
But that was due to different things. And one minute they're saying I've got polycystic ovaries, then I've got endometriosis, and this is what they kept saying I had.
Yeah.
Just before the diagnosis, I was due an operation as well.
For endometriosis?
Yeah, and a lot of my symptoms is quite similar to endometriosis
Yeah.
symptoms as well. And I think because of a lot of it was just before COVID.
Yeah.
So much got cancelled, and then I was pushing. Look, someone needs to see me. I've got bleeding. I'm having pains in my legs.
Yeah.
They're agonising. I was look, I really need to see someone. Kept cancelling appointments. Obviously, you have to push and push and push. And then obviously, as we come out the other side of COVID, they finally sent me for a scan prior to that, which was to do with this operation with the endometriosis.
Yeah.
And I looked back actually the other day at some of my paperwork, and it was saying at the time they could see that to them it looked like there was a cyst around my cervix, my womb.
Okay.
So now more I think about it, I do think it is.
It was that?
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah.
Because I had that scan in the December. I actually got my diagnosis in the June.
Wow.
Just after. So I think the more I look back at it, I think, it was there. But obviously people were just no, it's endometriosis. I was due this op. They were just wait for that. Because obviously
it is awful.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got endometriosis, and even the wait on that is 8 years usually to get diagnosed, and they're so slack with it. And something more needs to be done for that, because even if obviously you didn't end up having that, but had they have pushed that through a bit sooner, you would have been diagnosed a bit earlier, and maybe your treatment wouldn't have been as intense. Who knows? If they caught it earlier, it's a joke, honestly.
This is what I found, and I think it is, even with things like endometriosis, there is, like you say, there's such this weight, and they just make you wait and wait and wait, and it is agonising. It's absolutely agonising, and they just sort of pull you in, talk to you about it, and then sort of you're back out the door.
Yeah.
You literally have to fight for these appointments, these tests, and this, that, and the other. And this is what I had to do. But I was lucky. I was due a smear in it was the May I had it, and that's obviously when I went in, just my GP had the smear. But I've always been one that
always do.
Yeah, routine smear. Went in, obviously, had it all. And as she obviously looked and obviously did it, the nurse straight away was like, "You're really bleeding. I'm quite concerned." So I was like, okay.
Because we all bleed a little bit. There's something there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The most horrible things in the world. It even makes me want to grit my teeth thinking about having one done.
Really? I don't find it that bad.
Oh, okay, love. You're probably the only woman to ever say, I don't mind having a smear done.
No, it's not that I don't mind it. It's just I think, it's over with really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think so many people get scared about having them done.
Yeah.
I'm really cautious about saying that as well. I know some people find it horrifically painful. I've had so many appointments for gynae that I'm used to having that done.
So you went for your smear and you was really bleeding.
Yeah, she was like, obviously, you're really bleeding. And I don't know what she could see from a medical point of view, but she was like, look, it doesn't look right. I need to go get a GP. And she literally just walked straight out the room, went and grabbed a GP come in and said the same thing, like, you're really bleeding.
Was you bleeding beforehand or literally just when they did this smear?
No, this is the thing. I sort of had like a regular bleeding. That's why obviously I'd been like, look, I need to be checked. Like, I'm not having like regular bleeding like I should, like a woman should. I wasn't sort of having regular periods as well. So I was like, look, someone needs to check me. And that's when she was like, I'm getting the GP, they need to come in. And the GP said the same thing, like, you're really bleeding, like, just whatever they could see, they were like, it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You need literally to be seen, like, quite urgent. We need to send you, like, to the hospital.
Yeah.
So obviously they still had to take the smear anyway and obviously send that off and see what comes back. And obviously, it was just like a few weeks, and then fast forward, I've got this appointment come through to have colposcopy. So obviously, I had that. And obviously that's when I saw them again, so that was in gynae as well. When I saw them then, the consultant at the time, same thing, same sort of procedure, obviously they have to look. Like, he just kept saying to me, obviously he didn't have brilliant English either, so like he just kept saying like the word cancer, and I was like, sorry, I don't quite understand what you're saying. And he was like just mumbling stuff, and then he was like, cancer, and I was like, no, sorry, I don't get what you're saying.
Yeah. Were you with anyone?
No, and this is the thing, because it was still like the other side of COVID. They were like, not allowed anyone in. I had to go on my own.
Oh my God. Yeah. And how old were you when you got diagnosed?
I was 30, 31. So yeah.
So and you was on your own?
Yeah.
And was that your diagnosis there when he was mumbling to you?
No, this is the thing. And I think that was like playing in my head, because you just think, what's he going on about? Like, is there cancerous cells? Is that what he means?
Yeah.
But it's not cancer, like in your head. And I remember I just walked out there and I cried, because I was like,
it's just one word you wouldn't want to hear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think when like you're on your own as well, and I think you get told at the time no one's allowed to come with you, I was like, right, okay. So I just remember leaving, getting really upset.
Yeah.
And then they were like, it's quite a few weeks for your results.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it is.
So they, with is it colposcopy?
Yeah,
I can't say it. Colposcopy. With that, so what did they do? Take a biopsy from you then?
Yeah,
and then send it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think there's like a sort of like a 6-week window. Obviously, up to 6 weeks you get your results.
Yeah.
And it was quite a few weeks after that I got a phone call from this same consultant saying, look, you need to come in. We need to speak to you face to face. And I think anyone knows then when they say they want to speak to you face to face, you sort of know. And I was like, well, what is it? Like, what's going on?
Trying to get all the info out over the phone.
And I think with their profession, they're not sort of allowed to say over the phone. And I was like, well, can you please tell me? Like, I don't want to come in. I'd rather know now. And he's like, no, you need to come in face to face. Like, we need to have an appointment.
Yeah.
He's like, can you come in the next few days? And I was like, no, can you just tell me now? Like, literally, I want to know now. And I think it just, like, I was getting quite heated when I was speaking to him. And in the end, I was like, look, you need to tell me, and I'm not coming in.
Yeah.
And I was literally waiting to pick up, obviously, my youngest from nursery at the time. And I was literally outside on the phone. And that's when he was like, it's cancer. And I just remember that, like, the nursery opening the door, and I just ran in and cried. And they're like, what? Like, what's happened? And I, like, literally told them straight away. So they were the ones that knew, but, like, literally before my family, before anyone. And that was sort of left as that.
And being a mum as well, it's like, I guess that's the first thing you think about is your boys. And
you've just had that phone call, and like you said, you was picking your little enough from nursery.
Out of all places,
out of all like that is the just horrible to what you must have been feeling and going through at that point. But as mums, we then turn into absolute robots.
Yeah, this is what I did. I've sort of ran in there, and obviously they just pulled me to a room to the side, obviously, so no one could see me. And I was obviously like, look, they've just told me I've got cancer. And they're like, look, it's fine. Like, obviously the nurse were amazing. They were like, look, we'll sort him out. Don't worry about him. You sort yourself out. And then they're like, can we phone anyone? And I was like, well, I need to phone my sister. So I phoned my sister and said what sort of gone on. And I think we sort of got through that. And then, it was like, you've got to come in the next few days. And that's when my sister come with me. And then, obviously saw a different group of consultants, which obviously now my gynae consultants and obviously oncology consultants as well. And that's when they sat down and were like, right, look, it is cancer. And I was like, right, okay, I've taken sort of that part in. And that's when they said to me I was stage 1B2. So they were like, right, the plan is for you to have like a full hysterectomy, literally just take everything out, it will be gone.
Just
thank
like
God.
that.
Thank God you had your children young though.
This is, I believe, there's a reason I had.
Did you have any issues like conceiving your children? Or just
no, you were really young, weren't you? When It's Harley, isn't it? Your eldest,
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 19 when I had him.
Yeah, I was when I had Ez.
Yeah, I was classed obviously as like a young mum, but
thank God you were.
Yeah, I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I believe there's a reason I had the boys young.
Absolutely,
I definitely do believe in that.
Oh, I've just gone a goosebumpy. Oof, this is not nice, is it?
Sorry.
No, don't be silly.
This isn't a nice conversation. No. Shit that has happened to you.
The thing is, as
well, it's good to talk about it,
and you've dealt with it as well. So you saying it's just like a normal conversation, but us hearing it, it's like the shock factor of it all is just taking it.
I can see though, it still gets you because you.
It does. Absolutely. I think talking about it does like. I think I get a lump in my throat, and it does. I think because it brings back obviously like the memories of them. Obviously, like it happened this way. Obviously, I'd never like. When I tell you obviously the full story, it was not a smooth ride. Like I think obviously originally like with the smear.
Yeah.
That didn't sort of go to plan. And then obviously when I got told, I did a sort of push for it.
Yeah.
But that never sort of went to plan how I got told. No. And then, when I got the first diagnosis, shall I say, it was this one B2, full hysterectomy, take it all out. But I think, even then I was just like, I'm one of these people out of sight, out of mind. Because you can't see it.
No.
I was like, okay, that's fine. And then,
you'd had the boys already, so like you've got your boys, you've got your kids.
Yeah.
What else do I need it for?
That's one thing they said to me, obviously, like, doing the full hysterectomy, like, you're infertile.
Yeah.
Did you want any more children, or were you not sure?
Yeah, I think I was, not sure. Like, I've never I've always said, like, maybe, like, 2. I'm happy with 2. Like, I was more than happy with 2, but I'd always say, like, never say never.
I guess it kind of got made for you, though.
The decision getting taken away from you.
No, but I do remember them, because there was quite a few of them in the room at the time. I remember them all saying, like, obviously, this is going to make you, like, infertile. Like, that's it, like, you're not going to be able to have any more children.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. And they're like, but you're not going to have any more children. I said, yeah, that's fine. I think because I'm young, they looked at me as if to say, like, why are you not upset?
I was going to say, did they know that you had 2?
Yeah, obviously they knew I had 2 children. So, I think they were all, like, a bit shocked, like, why is she not?
Yeah.
Like, I had just had no emotion with it. And I think that was me for a good, like, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I just, was like, okay, whatever. Just got on with it. And I think even my family were, like, a bit... I
guess in your head,
like
you're
she's
thinking,
going to break, she's going to have a reaction any moment, like
because I wouldn't talk about it. Like they give you all this like leaflets and books, like obviously cervical cancer and obviously everything about it. I literally just went home and threw it in the drawer. So to me, it was like outside, out mind. That's it. Yeah, carry on. And I
guess in your head, you're just thinking, I want to be there for the children I've got. And just let's get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're going to sort of autopilot in that.
So brave, so.
Yeah, really, really brave. So talk us through. So you then got told, obviously you had to have this hysterectomy. Then what happened?
So the plan was just that. I obviously got booked in to have that bang in the middle of the summer holidays.
Oh. Lovely.
So
So how long was that from you being told to having the hysterectomy?
I think it was about 5-6 weeks, something like that.
That's still a period of time, isn't it?
It's always like this 6-week window. It's like they always seem to fall in this 6-week window, which it's a long time.
Yeah,
I mean when you've got that as well.
They've told you you've got cancer. You're stage 1, and you're having a hysterectomy to get rid of it. It'd be gone.
Yeah,
you think that they would get you in pretty sharpish.
This is what I thought. I think you just think they get you in and out. Just to get rid of it because I think everyone knows it can obviously spread or this can happen, that can happen.
Yeah.
So there was like this other 6-week wait. So I think always in the back of your mind, it's like I've got this for another 6 weeks. It's still there. So I got put in to have that bang in the middle of the school holidays. Went in for it. And all I can remember from that is literally getting waken up in recovery, obviously not quite with it.
Yeah.
By my consultant just saying, look, we've aborted the surgery. When they cut me open, the cancer had spread, so obviously, they can't touch it. They couldn't obviously do what they needed to do. They had taken some lymphs out because obviously they needed to test that, some lymph nodes. And my appendix apparently was stretched or something, so they took that out while I was there. So I've still got everything.
Sorry?
I've still got all my ovaries and everything, believe it or not. I've got all of it still.
Wow.
They just don't work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
The way you just said, they cut her open and they just realise it spread. Do they know whether it's spread in those 6 weeks from obviously the point where they first told you to that point?
Yeah, what we actually found out later on is I'd obviously had numerous tests, MRIs and stuff.
Yeah.
My MRI had been read completely wrong. They'd sort of completely missed it on there. So my final diagnosis I got, they could have got that on the MRI, but because it had been read completely wrong, they had gone on this that I was stage 1, that I just needed a hysterectomy, when all along I didn't even need to have an operation. They could have just put me straight into treatment.
It's mad because I'm all for the NHS, but we hear this time and time again doing this podcast about the NHS.
So many mistakes.
Yeah, so many.
Big things have happened
and this is what I think is so worrying.
Yeah.
So worrying.
You do hear it all the time, and I think that's the scary thing, is you're like, well, why is it happening again?
Yeah.
You think you'd learn from the first mistake, but it's happening again.
I know everyone goes on that it's under pressure, the NHS, and they do have a lot to sort of go on with and everything.
And I get that.
But that is your job. You are paid to do that job. Get it fucking right. You went to university, you had qualifications under your belt. This is what you do. This is your job in life. This is what you go to work every day to do. And they can't get it right.
No, and I think that's what's so worrying as well, when I think they read things like MRIs every day. They're like, they do this every day. And it's, they should sort of know it like the back of their hand.
It makes you absolutely shit yourself that if there is something wrong with you, and say you do go for an MRI or a CT or whatever type of scan you fucking go for, and then they give you your results, you're always going to sit there and question, is that right?
Yeah.
Are you 100% sure? How sure are you about this? Like, you just don't know.
No.
It has, for me, since I've found that out. Every MRI or scan I am literally like, are you sure that, like, you've got that right? It's all okay.
Bloody hell.
So they said it spread. Had it spread to, like, the next stage, or had it spread to another area?
Yeah, I think it had spread a bit, and obviously, that's when I'd gone from stage 1B2 to I was then stage 3C1.
Wow.
So you skipped stage 2.
Yeah.
You went stage 3.
Yeah.
Which does it go to stage, is it 4?
Obviously stage 4 is terminal, and I think I was just before that. So I think in the end I did Google it. I probably shouldn't have Googled it, and I think everyone around me Googled it.
This is one of my questions. Have you Googled anything?
Which I think, nearer the time, obviously at the time, when obviously that all happened, I was in recovery for quite a while, didn't go upstairs till late, and they just sort of obviously like, right, go up tonight, a lot's gone on, we'll speak to you in the morning. And I still to this day remember it, because they all come up, like all the consultants and obviously everyone else, and I remember the nurse and stuff all being there. There was literally about 8 of them around my bed. I had my sister with me as well, and I remember them sort of saying to me, look, right, this has happened, and I'm like, you said that yesterday. And I still remember to this day just saying, I don't want to talk to you. And they're like, no, look, you need to talk to us. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to you. Like, literally go away. I don't want to talk to you. And the nurse was like, look, it's fine. I remember her grabbing my foot, the nurse, just squeezing it as if to say, look, I'm here, but we'll get rid of them. I'll talk to you like what you want to do after. So, I wouldn't talk to them for a good 24 to 48 hours. All the consultants were like, look, we need to speak to you. And I was like, no, I don't want to speak to you.
I guess you feel let down as well.
You've really fucking fucked up.
Did you have to stay in hospital for a while then?
Yeah, I was obviously in for quite a few days, because obviously it's major surgery. So I was in for a few days, and then a few days later they were like, look, we need to talk to you because now you've got to have treatment, because the original plan was obviously not to have treatment. So I was like, okay, look, I've got to accept what's being said, and obviously I had to see that I had to have treatment and what was the next step, and then obviously had to go home. But it's quite a big recovery, even though I didn't have it. I still had massive recovery.
I'm still really confused. Why did they not take it out then?
This is what
I know it spreads, but why shouldn't it?
I think they have to, I don't know, because I've not.
Do they have to shrink it? I know we're not medical professionals.
They have to shrink it before they can take it out, because if they just take it out, I don't know, I could be completely wrong.
I think they're not allowed to touch whatever, because I think it can make it spread more as well, or something along them lines.
So by having like chemo or radiotherapy, it shrinks the cancer for them, and then the operation to be more successful. That's just what I'm going on from, like, my granddad having cancer. Like, he had to have multiple sessions of chemo to shrink it, and if they didn't manage to shrink it, then he couldn't have the operation.
I'm with you now, right?
I don't know, like, that's just what I'm...
this is what I've worked out, like, from it now. Okay. They're not allowed to touch it, because I was like, that was my question to them. I was like, well, why haven't you, like, I don't get it, can't you just take it out? Even if it's spread, can you not take it all out and then it's all gone? But I think they're not allowed to touch it. But they had to take the lymph nodes to obviously sort of test
them,
because they can obviously move around your body.
And your appendix, is that right? Was it your appendix?
Apparently my appendix was a bit stretched or so they just took that out while they were there.
Well, might as well while we're down there.
Don't need that, we'll just take it out.
Oh, bless you.
So I found out they took that out while they were there.
Honestly, crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but I still have got all my ovaries and everything, which is mad. I've still got it all. It's all still there.
So you come out of hospital, then I guess you had to go and have treatment.
It was like another sort of 6-week wait.
No.
I had to recover. I had to sort of recover again from obviously it's major surgery. So yeah, I had to recover from that, and I started chemo and radiotherapy the first day obviously my youngest started school. So yeah, these things sort of with me, they just work out like that. It's like they were giving me all these different dates, and I was like, look, just as soon as possible. Look, that's when I wanted it. And they were like, right, this is the soonest we can give it to you, this date, and it needs to start on a Monday, which was his first day of school. But yeah, I obviously chose not to tell the boys. Still to this day, obviously my youngest is none the wiser. He's at the age, I think even if I sat down and told him, he'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
But he still fully wouldn't understand what it was. Where obviously my eldest is at an age where he would Google and stuff, and that was my choice. I didn't want him to.
So does he know now?
I think he's sort of got a bit of an inkling.
Yeah.
But he's, never really said anything.
No.
So, I think I've always said when that day comes, it's not like I'm hiding it from them.
It's just quite a big thing.
You're protecting them.
Yeah, and this is what I found. I think I've always said when that day comes, and obviously if it had to come at the time when if treatment didn't work, I said I would sit them down. But yeah, at the moment, that's my choice not to tell him.
100%, yeah.
I just find maybe when he's a couple of years older.
Yeah.
I just feel like at the moment he's still not at the best age for me to tell him unless I had to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my personal choice.
You're his mum.
Yeah.
You know best. And I think that's exactly how you should do it.
And you know them best as well.
Yeah.
So you had chemo and radiotherapy. How did that work? Like, did you have to have it daily or weekly, or how does it work?
I had chemotherapy once a week.
Right.
So that was like basically all day. Oh. And obviously, I think when you just don't know much about these things, you sort of look a bit online.
Yeah.
So I just thought, you just get this chemo. And they do say to you, you might just feel a bit sick, or... Yeah, they don't tell you truthfully how you're going to be.
How is that going into the hospital? Or? Yeah,
I would literally go in. So they wanted me in like quite early, but I just kept saying to them, look, I want to do the school runs first.
Yeah.
To obviously drop the boys to school.
Yeah.
And then I'm coming to the hospital after.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got on quite well with all the nurses and that. They're like, it's fine, drop the kids to school.
Yeah.
Come in after. Yeah, I'd go have chemo once a week. So obviously go in and obviously have it put in. It's like an IV.
Yeah. Yes, you have an IV going into it.
It's literally, just a cannula. And to me, I think you've always see these things as like chemo, and you think it's this massive thing. It's not. It's literally a cannula in your hand, and you're just attached to an IV basically of chemo.
And you're just sitting in a chair?
Yeah, and just sitting there doing, whatever you want.
What did you do?
Most of the time, I did just like sit on my phone or listen to music or read. But I think after a couple of weeks, I was so poorly. Like, I just didn't even have the energy. I'd get there and I'd just sleep the whole time. And I think you could sort of tell in the room who's been there a few weeks and who hadn't. Yeah. Because, the first few weeks you're sort of a bit perkier, and then after that, you're just sleeping. You've got no energy.
And looking around the room, I imagine, were you the youngest there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the youngest in there. And I think for me... Even though I was like quite strong with it all and being quite brave for it all, I think for me it was quite hard because at the time, I found out I was the only one in there with cervical cancer. I had obviously the same chemo as a lot of patients that have like head and neck cancer. Oh, so we had the same sort of chemo. So they just sort of put you with the same sort of people that are having the same chemo that week.
Mm-hmm. Like you formed a little group.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm. Yeah, and to put it nicely, they're probably all old enough to be my grandparents. Mm. And I did find that like a lot of them wouldn't speak to me or anything because they're like, oh, she's young.
Yeah.
She's just obviously in and out of here. Yeah. Which, wasn't nice. And I think towards the end, there was a really nice lady that had obviously just started who had throat cancer. And she sat with me. Like most weeks, we'd just sit there and talk, and which is really nice.
Were you allowed to bring anyone with you to that?
No.
Or, no?
No, I had to do all of that on my own. I don't know if prior to COVID, I don't know if you were allowed anyone or not.
Oh my God.
But everyone was in there on their own. And I think, a lot of the time as well, I think a lot of people would you just feel so poorly that you just sort of go in there and just, sort of have it and leave again.
And I don't want to be like too graphic, but when you say you feel poorly, like what are your symptoms from having the chemo?
It hit me straight away, like within 24 hours. They said, it'd be a couple of days, if not a week, and you might, just feel a bit sick, a bit sleepy, and it hit me straight away. I was like, literally, I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. I was I just didn't stop being sick. Like I was just so weak, and it knocked me for 6. But I had to have the radio like daily as well. Oh, so wow. I just felt so like I couldn't get out of bed, couldn't lift my head, but I still had to go out every day to have radio. I had to.
So how many weeks was the radiotherapy?
So the radiotherapy was like 6.5 weeks, I think, every day.
Every day?
Yeah, and you get given like a different time slot every day.
Wow.
And you just obviously, go to radio for that time and then leave again.
So in radiotherapy, what do you have to do?
So with mine, because of where mine was, it is like, it's not nice. So obviously you just lie on the bed, and obviously it looks like a big MRI machine.
Yeah.
But it's obviously to target where your cancer is, and obviously because mine was cervical, unfortunately every time I had to take like my trousers off, and I just used to have to lie there bottom half naked basically.
Yeah.
Which it's not the nicest, and obviously that's targeting there every day. But I was really lucky, I had a really good team there, so
Yeah.
Aww.
Bless you. So how long, and was your chemo 6.5 weeks?
chemo was 6 weeks, and then radio was a little bit longer, and then in the October just after I had something called brachytherapy, which never heard of until I had it, which is internal radiotherapy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because of where mine was, I had to have another operation, so I had to have like these metal rods obviously inserted down there, and then I had to stay in bed for like 3-4 days. I'm an inpatient in the hospital, and they attach you to a radiotherapy machine. So there's obviously like wires, and they go, this radio just goes straight along the wire. And obviously these rods are attached to where the cancer is.
Wow.
So it's literally attached to the tumour, basically.
Jesus
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's just blasted. Like I had it every sort of few hours.
Do you feel anything?
Like burning. It's the only way I could describe it. Like my pelvis the whole time just felt like it was burnt.
Yeah.
Do you have to have a catheter and stuff, or what if you
No,
needed a wee?
I've been really, really lucky, and I think a lot of girls I've met have obviously had like long-term catheters, they've had like stoma bags, like you name it. I've been really, really lucky. I didn't have to have any of that. Like I've got a lot of side effects I'm still living with now from treatment, and I'm sure a lot of other girls that have had the same are as well. But yeah, I was really lucky with all that. Like I managed to still sort of be intact.
Yeah, and imagine feeling like that and how you felt every day, but not telling the boys. That must have been really, really hard to try and keep from them.
Did you just try and go about your normal day?
I did, but obviously there was a lot of people around helping and obviously making it as normal as possible. But I think for them, I did say that I'd had an operation, and I did say I'd had a stomach operation because I've been sick a lot, and I said I've had a lot of girly problems.
Yeah.
Like obviously.
Nice to wait.
Yeah. I said obviously I get tummy ache a lot. I said, so I've had this operation. I said, but this is what's making me poorly. So I didn't just let them think that there was nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite hard because I think a lot of the time I was getting up and doing school runs and stuff like that, but obviously I had a lot of people with me. But yeah, obviously I was sort of dropping them to school, and then I was going home and sleeping, or sort of coming home from school, doing dinner and stuff, and then as soon as it was bedtime, I was going to bed.
Like, what a fucking superhero.
Thank you.
No, honestly.
Jesus, so
I think being a woman though, you do
just crack on, but honestly.
that you've just took it to whole new levels there. You really have.
No, you have. So once they'd done obviously all your treatment, then did they have to go in? I know you said that you've got everything in there now, but did they have to do another operation on top of that?
No, I've asked since. I've said, can you do like a full hysterectomy? And they're like, no. I don't know why they won't sort of go into detail, but yeah, they've said no.
So after you've had your treatment, then what did they say? Just it's all gone, or?
So yeah, I think you have to sort of wait a little bit to see. So the main thing for them was this brachytherapy that I've now found out is the main thing to sort of blast it.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing I needed to have at the end.
Yeah.
And yes, obviously there was a couple of months wait, and obviously like it's quite a long recovery to sort of get a bit better as well. And then I had an MRI in that January. So yeah, treatment ended October time, and obviously I had the operation in the October as well. So yeah, that January I had an MRI, and then that's when it'd come back that obviously there was no evidence of disease, and it had gone.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's when I got full remission. But I think it's still, I think the first 5 years is the main.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fully clear.
And what are you at the moment?
I'm up. It will be 3 years next January.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 years. I've just been 2 years. But yeah, I did go back at sort of towards the end of last year because they thought things had returned for another operation.
Oh, bless you.
So yeah, but luckily
Why
it
did
was
they
all
think
clear.
that?
I'd had a lot of symptoms again.
Right.
So yeah, you think you have all this treatment, and and then I was back to square one.
And just going back to before you started your treatment, I remember you donated a load of your hair, didn't you? Did you lose your hair with your treatment?
I was going to say, do you want to talk about your hair, so? Because I know it was a real thingy for you, wasn't it?
You had really, really long.
Like, that was a big thing.
I'm getting there.
It looks lovely.
Nearly 2 years back
your
to
hair
where
looks
it was.
lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my hair was literally just above my bum.
Yeah.
And it's always been me, like long dark hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, they said to me at the time, obviously, when they eventually said, look, you've got to have chemo. And I think the main thing is everyone thinks straight away, having chemo, I'm going to lose my hair.
Yeah.
Like, you've got cancer, chemo, you're going to lose your hair. That's what everyone just puts together. They said it was a 50-50 chance I could lose my hair. So it was that whole, am I going to lose it, am I not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another reason I did cut my hair off for my boys, for them to not think if it did start to fall out.
Yeah.
It's not a big shock from
it's
it
not
being
as big,
so long.
so that's why I did cut it like to a bob, so that if it did start to fall out, they're like, oh, okay, why are you losing your hair? But it's not as long as it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always wanted to do that anyway, so I think that sort of gave me the chance just to do it.
Can I just say, like, through this whole chat, you have every hurdle that you've come across, everything that's been thrown at you, your boys have been the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, every time.
Your first thought has always been those boys, like with the school run, how you're telling them, how you're wording things, like even with the cutting of your hair. I know what your hair meant to you. I've always remembered your long dark hair. Like, it was your thing, you're right. So for you to even say that, did it for that, like, just, I know us mums, we say we do everything like it. You are living proof. You did everything for your boys.
I just,
and that's my hat is off to you. Like, what an amazing mum.
Thank you.
You really, really are. I think we're both in complete awe, to be honest.
Yeah, I am.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
It does, means a lot.
I know you said you've still got a lot of symptoms still from your treatment that have carried on. What are those that stick out for you?
Main thing for me is, I think this is a lot of it I found, and I think this is where I do feel like I have been let down a lot by obviously the way I've sort of gone through treatment and stuff like that.
I mean, we feel like you've been let down a lot and we haven't even heard the half of it yet, I don't think.
Yeah, no, that it is only a small story of it. But yeah, I think a lot of it, like, they say to you, like, you're going to be unwell and you're going to have these side effects after, but they never really go into detail. And I get they don't have the time to sit there and go through the whole list, but it's like things like, I've got damage to my nerves and like my arms and legs are just like extremely weak. Like, I've gone from someone that's obviously young, really mobile. Like, I used to go running like 3 times a week. And now I can just about walk along the road without being in chronic pain.
Oh, bless
because
you.
I've got a lot of damage. And that's what chemo does to you.
Yeah.
Obviously you can build it back up over time. But yeah, I've got a lot of that. And obviously, I get a lot of like nausea feeling. And unfortunately I've got a lot of damaged to other places as well. So
So, and you said before we started the chat about like your brain fog from menopause. Have they put you into early menopause, or how does that work?
So that is from obviously having the treatment.
Yeah,
that has pushed me straight into early menopause.
You're in the menopause?
Yeah. So I've been through it now like 2 years down the line. So I feel like I'm still learning it.
Yeah. Are you on HRT now?
Yeah.
I've just watched my mum go through it, and it's bless your heart.
It is
anything like she had, cool. The hormones.
Yeah, this is what I mean by like a teenager and my hormones in the house. And sometimes you feel like you're that teenager again.
Yeah.
With the hormones. Yeah. Like a stroppy teenager.
That's what my mum said.
Yeah, this is what I feel like sometimes.
And the hot flushes.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting one now. I get them hell of a lot.
I used to look at my mum sometimes, she'd be bright red, I'd be like, you're right. She went, I'm in a flush.
Yeah, I get them a lot. But yeah, I've been on HRT for a couple of years. To me, it probably is doing stuff, but at the same time, I probably feel like it's not. But I know, obviously, it's trial and error.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I've got to learn what works for me and what doesn't. But yeah, that's what treatment did. It like pushed me into menopause, but it pushed me into it a bit harder than a woman would go through naturally.
Yeah. And your like appointments now, how often are they?
They're obviously a lot less.
Yeah.
I was being seen like regular through treatment, and just after, like, I was being seen all the time. And then it sort of dropped down when I got remission. It sort of drops down to every couple of months, and then after that it was every sort of 6 months, and then it went to a year. So now, not gonna lie, a lot of it, because of the way things are, a lot of it's constantly getting cancelled. Like, I did actually got an email this morning that was like another appointment cancelled, and I think I'm so used to it now. But I know
you shouldn't be used to that.
And it is bad, I think. It's because of what I'm under. You should feel like you shouldn't be having these appointments cancelled, and you should be seeing regularly. But I know like obviously when unfortunately I did have more symptoms again at the end of last year, I know that if I need to, I can contact them.
Yeah.
And then they do get me in quite urgent.
And were your symptoms at the end of last year similar to what you had had the first time round?
Yeah, which I think to me it was a bit like, well, why am I getting all these? Because if I'm like going through like the menopause, I shouldn't have half of these. And then they just sort of said it can just, they think it's to do with like the scarring and stuff of treatment. It's just,
like scar tissue, I guess.
and it's all sort of just damaged, to put it nicely.
Yeah. Oh, bless your heart.
Their way to word it's just been, to me, it's like an atomic bomb's gone off.
Yeah.
That's all they have said to me a few times.
How do you feel like mentally?
Lovely.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's like that wording thing we spoke about, like in a previous ones. Like sometimes you just shouldn't say certain things. Like that would be one of them.
Yeah. I found that with being younger as well. The way I'm sort of like spoken to and dealt with. I think because you're younger, they find they can.
Is it different?
Yeah, they can just sort of throw these words at you, and you'll just be like, yeah, okay, and just walk back out the door, which I probably have done most of the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think they forget you're young. It's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I was going to say as well, mentally, this must have had a massive knock to you. Have you had any therapy, or have they helped you through anything like that, or?
I did, it did. In the beginning, obviously, like I said, I wouldn't speak about it, and I think that was all through treatment. I still wouldn't really speak about it, and don't get me wrong, I had quite a lot of days I was screaming, crying, and that's because I was just so poorly and in pain, and so I had all that, and then after I still like wouldn't talk about it. I just sort of got on as normal, and I think that's what a lot of people close to me were a bit like, why are you not talking about it? Like,
you need to talk about it.
You need to talk about it, basically.
Yeah.
So I just kept carrying on.
People deal with things differently.
Yeah, and that was me, and I'm just one of them people that do that. But in the end, I think it got to a point, and I don't know if it was this whole, the menopause was really starting to kick in as well. And I know a lot of women struggle with like mental health in menopause as well. I think a lot of that all sort of went together. And you get offered it anyway, like Macmillan, you get offered like therapy after, and I declined it because I was like, no, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Do you still feel that way now?
I did go and take it up in the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I did go and have it, and I was really lucky. The lady was absolutely lovely.
Good.
And I think, it did help.
I think talking to somebody that you don't know as well, rather than feeling like you don't want to, not that you are, but that you don't want to be a burden to these people. Speaking to somebody who that's their job, it sort of makes it a little bit easier to speak to them, doesn't it, sometimes?
That's what I think I found, because I didn't know her. That I think I found it easier to talk about, and she didn't sit there and be like, oh, talk about this, talk about that. She was just like, look,
let you talk.
Yeah, talk about what you want to talk about, and if it isn't related to that, it is something a bit different.
Yeah,
talk about it.
Yeah,
and
just
it was
out.
And it was like just sort of, I've just met her, and we sort of becoming friends, and it was nice. She was really nice, and I think that really helped as well.
Good.
Yeah, no, definitely, because I just think your age and to have the boys and to go through it, it's just a lot. And as we've said it multiple times, but I just take my hat off to you, honestly, that with how you've dealt with it, because
I'm shocked. I am actually sitting here really
baffled. I think it's because she says it like blasé, like I've done
you
this,
are very
I've
blasé
done this, and I'm like,
but also like you see things.
Yeah.
Like I know you. Like it's never been sort of but when we've seen each other, it's like when you're out and about or at friends' weddings. So it's not really time or place to have a conversation like this, is it?
No.
But like you see things, but you never fuss. You never made a big deal out of it. You just got on with it.
Yeah, it was literally fight or flight with me.
I think you have to make light of some situations in life, otherwise it will just keep getting you down and down and down. And you're a fighter, so that's how your mode is, just to switch off like that. So just how you handled it is amazing.
No, thank you.
It is.
So this, I might not even put this in because this might be a really stupid question. Obviously, now you don't have periods and you're in the menopause, do you still have to have smear tests or no?
Well, I actually found out it was, I don't know if it was a year or a year and a half down the line, I got a letter through the door, like another smear book, like go book your smear.
Yeah.
And so I just booked it at the GP, went, and had the same sort of thing. I was bleeding again and that.
Yeah.
And then I actually got a phone call from my consultant, was like, have you been for a smear? And I said, yeah, the letter come through the door. This, was about a year down the line after treatment. I said, well, I just went, because I just assumed a letter come through the door. I still had to have them, I had to go. So I went, and she was like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I went. And she was like, well, where did you have it? And I said, at the doctor's. And she was like, they should never like put you in for that. Like, you're under us, you should not be having smears, you see us. So yeah, I actually did go and have a smear about a year after treatment, and I'm not meant to be having them because I am seen regularly. But yeah, I did go and have one because I was just anyone would assume it comes in the post.
Well, she's here. Why not?
But yeah, no one sort of flagged up that
God almighty.
I shouldn't have been there.
No, yeah, because I just thought, obviously you've still got everything. So for me, I'd be thinking, well, do you need to? But then obviously if you haven't got your period, does that play into it? I don't know. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I just assumed the letter come through the door. It meant I still had to have them. I just went. But yeah, I found out that I wasn't meant to go.
Oh, that's crazy.
So you going back again. So you said you went. Is it remittance? You got? Is that what it's called? What's it called?
Remission.
Remittance. What's that? That's like a debt, isn't it? At work or something. I'm in remittance or something.
No idea.
Yeah. When you got told that, did you go into another appointment? They told you face to face.
Yeah, that was like with my oncologist.
Yeah.
And I've always found her to be quite a bit cold, and I gather it's her job. It
takes a certain person to have to be able to deliver news like that on a daily basis.
And I found that, I think, you have to be that sort of person that's quite cold. And I think in the beginning, I just found her really cold and like just not caring at all. And I was always a bit like, she just doesn't care. Like, I just feel like, why doesn't she care? But yeah, I remember like going to the appointment and she was just literally like, yeah, you got remission. I was like, sorry, what? And she was like, no, you've got remission. Like, you can go now. And I was like, sorry, I don't know. Then this literally is what I mean. She's just cold, threw it at me and was like, yeah, you can go now, appointment's finished.
Hang on, I want to crack the champagne open. I want balloons, I want poppers. Like,
did you celebrate?
Well, I thought like, in my head, obviously I've seen too much online like you do. I thought you go out there, you ring the bell when you get that.
Yeah.
Well, this was another thing I thought.
Don't you didn't get to ring the bell?
No. I thought you did. I don't know if it's like
is that
certain
more for
hospitals.
the kids?
Yeah, maybe. I think it might be, or just might be
I
certain
swear
hospitals.
I've seen other people.
Yeah, I've seen adults do it. But yeah, that's what I thought. She meant like you go out the door and there's a bell for you to ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't.
Where's this bell then?
Yeah, no, it was. I did get told quite early in the morning. So me and my sister did just go for like breakfast and champagne.
Yeah.
Which everyone was sort of looking at you like, why are you having champagne so early on? I think it was like a Monday or Tuesday morning.
Leave us be, don't judge.
Yeah.
So what does that mean when they tell you that you just have to stop going to your appointments? You don't have to go back, and you'll just get the odd screening here and there now.
No, yeah, I still go back.
Right.
Obviously, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, like, oh, they're just going to send me out the door. That's it. They don't see me again. But no, I still obviously have to see them regularly as well. Just obviously, just to constantly check. And they just check me every time I go. And then every appointment, it's sort of, how are you doing? And that's when I do go in with a list now. I was like, no, this is still, I've still got this or that. And or this is still bothering me. And
Yeah.
And then,
So I know you said that you were 2 years clear in January. So does that mean you had an appointment in January and you don't have to go back till this January, or?
I was due obviously an MRI in January, but because I'd obviously gone back the end of last year with these symptoms and had an operation, I'm actually still due. So obviously, I haven't been given full 2-year remission via their books, but as I'm aware, everything's okay. So in my head, I am still in the 2 years.
But then you're going to go back for the,
I should be due it soon. It's just one of them things, just waiting for it.
When they call upon you, Oh, we'll just sit here and wait, shall we? Do you know what I mean?
Crazy.
You're amazing how you deal with that. Because if that was me, I think I'd be climbing at the walls and I'd be on the phone every day and I'd probably be saying, like, God knows what to who. Really letting them have it.
I think I've just learnt to, just wait, and when the appointment comes, it comes. But I'm not a lover of MRI, so it takes me. They take me and they're kicking and screaming, but I do it because I know I've got to have it. But then I think it goes back to this whole in the beginning where it got read wrong.
Why don't you like them?
I'm claustrophobic.
Because a lot of people say this.
I'm claustrophobic as well.
People say it all the time. They hate it, and you have to lie so still.
Yeah, you're not allowed to like even flinch.
Yeah.
And I think because I get a lot of arm and leg pain, and obviously it makes me twitch and stuff. I'm like trying to stay really still, and I'm like, oh, I've got pain there, and I can't move. So
Yeah.
And sometimes mine are quite long.
Are you on medication now long term or just HRT?
Just the HRT. That's all. Yeah, that's all I'm on at the moment.
That's good.
Like I was the bags and bags of medication I was on, but it was my own choice. I took myself off a lot of it. Like, obviously, I had a lot of like pain medication and that, which I probably should still take now. But I don't want to depend on all this medication.
Good
so that's probably why.
Yeah.
What a fighter!
I know. Honestly,
Jesus.
what a trooper.
So there's a few little stats looking into it, but tell me if this is wrong. So, but it's women between 25 and 64 are invited for their screening now. Is that correct, or have they lowered it again?
As I'm aware, that is right.
That is it, isn't it?
I know they were trying to lower it to like 21, which it should be.
Yeah. And then people between the ages of 25 and 49 are invited back every 3 years for a smear. But people 50 to 64 are only invited back every 5 years.
I think that's right, as I'm aware,
Okay.
I know there's been a lot in Parliament recently with,
to
lower it, and I think to get people to get seen more. I think they're trying to lower it younger than 21, but I don't think they'd be able to, which I think is worrying. It is really worrying.
Well, it is very worrying when you look at how young you were, and I'm sure there's other stories out there.
Yeah, I've met someone recently who is, I think, 15, 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did she know?
I'm not too sure, as I haven't, obviously, I know the baseline of the story, and I know they're going through treatment at the moment. But
because they say that the main symptoms to look for with cervical cancer are some of the ones that you've already said. It is the vaginal bleeding that's unusual to you. Yeah. Not what you read on Google, not like what anyone else has. It's your different cycle that and you're used to getting. Pain during sex. Yeah. That's another one. Yeah. Change in vaginal discharge. Yeah. That was another main one. And the other one was the lower back pain.
Yeah, this is one thing.
Legs, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this is what I suffered with a really long time, was the back and leg pain.
Right.
And yes, what I still get now. But yeah, this was one of the main things I had. And this is what they kept saying was the endometriosis.
Yeah.
So with the back pain and your leg pain, on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful are you talking like just like a normal period sort of pain? You know, like when you get all the cramping and stuff?
Excruciating. Really? That's what my pain, like excruciating back pain, you know, where like you're just like, oh my God, I literally can't move. It's that painful.
That's honestly, when I'm going through a flare-up, I'm like that with my back and my stomach, but it is mostly my back with my endo.
It is, and it is painful. And this is what I've always said, these flare-ups, because I sort of get these now with obviously just, I think, where I've had all this damage from treatment. I do have a lot of days where I flare up. And it's agonising.
Do you get bloating with it or not really?
Not really, no. It's just, I think it's where I've had all the treatment and it is this all like sort of burnt. It's a bit burnt to a crisp, I suppose, inside. Yeah. But I do get these days that I have flare-ups and I know how you feel.
Yeah, no, I don't know about you. No, the other way around. Mine's fucking minor compared to what you've gone through.
This is about you.
Yeah, don't be saying that. Okay. But yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah, I don't want to scare anyone.
No, don't be silly.
Do you know what? Sometimes actually it takes to be scared with these things, because I think a lot of people with those symptoms, they're not out like... You wouldn't think that they're like a major symptom.
No, every single one of them is a symptom of endometriosis or polycystic ovaries or bad period.
A bad period. Like, how do you bloody know that all of a sudden that could be it? Like, all of that stuff, they say that leading up to your period, this is going to sound a bit grim, but leading up to your period, you get a little bit more discharge. Yeah. That's one of the ways that we know you're going to come on your period soon. You get the cramp, I get back pain when I'm coming on my period. That's one of my telltale signs. It's not to the point where I'm in absolute agony. Sometimes I'm a bit of a wimp, and I'll be like, oh, it hurts so much, but it's like an ache, if anything. But I looked at the list earlier and I was like, well, that's nothing to ring sort of alarm bells, actually.
And I think this is why a lot of it does go a bit undiagnosed, or people do get diagnosed a lot later, because I think a lot of women, girls, like, don't want to say like, oh, I've had a bit of bleeding.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like a taboo thing no one wants to talk about. Even people going for their smears, like we said. Like, obviously you said that you found it excruciating. Because I've had loads of treatment done, I don't find it that bad, because I've gone through work.
I don't find it excruciating. I find it uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Right, I found it really... It makes... I can't even talk about it. Like Nurse Helen, who I have, plays classical music and, you know, your legs are in the air in these stirrups, and it's... Can't even talk about it. But
it is uncomfortable.
But it's literally done and over with in a couple of minutes, and you really need to make sure that you're going for them and make sure you're routinely going. It might be uncomfortable, but... what's the alternative going through what you've gone through? Like,
and this is what I would...
You really need to make sure that you're keeping on top of them. And, as you say, that woman... Like, some people get embarrassed, don't they, to even, like, have their trousers down in front of a nurse or whatever. That woman has seen thousands of vaginas, all different shapes and sizes, hair, no hair, whatever. She doesn't care. She literally doesn't give a shit. She's just there to do her job. and do the thing. She doesn't care about that. So I think people get in their heads, don't they? I think especially on your first one, if you haven't had, like, I'd already had a child by the time I went, so I've already had someone. Yeah. But when you've never even had a child and you're going for your smear, that could be quite daunting to go down there for the first time and open your legs and feel like a bit vulnerable. But yeah, we have to do it. It has to be more normalised.
Mine literally, and that's the thing, mine literally saved my life. If I didn't go for that smear, I don't really know what would have happened when.
Yeah.
It's horrible to think.
Yeah, to think like, because my symptoms weren't getting listened to. And obviously I know that's my own personal experience. But yeah, if I didn't have that smear, maybe things would not have been pushed through so quick. Even though it doesn't seem quick, weren't so quick. And it is, like you say, like people are too scared to go. And it is like one of these things people do think it's not as big as people think it is. It is a bit painful, a bit uncomfortable to some people, but
it's nothing compared to the alternative.
Yeah, you just wouldn't want that.
Well, I'm chuffed you went for that smear.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm chuffed you went for that smear. I really am.
And anyone listening, if you are due one, please make sure you book in.
Go.
If
you haven't been for one, there's some people out there that have never been for one.
I've had a lot. I've had so many messages, and especially when I did this campaign thing a few weeks ago, I've had messages from girls all over the UK that have obviously seen my video, messaged me and was like, I've never gone for a smear, but I now have because I've listened to your story.
Yeah.
And a lot of friends and family, the same.
My next question was going to be, since you've gone through all that, I know you're still going for it and it's still that sort of thing, but have you done anything? Like, would you say people have these moments where like, I've changed the way I think about it, I've changed this about me, or I'm now doing this to highlight it to people? Like, have you done anything?
I wouldn't really say, like, obviously change, but yeah, obviously I got asked quite a few weeks ago because, a lot of women found me and I've just come across them on social media like you do.
Yeah.
And, we've all gone through the same thing, or a few of them have had, like, breast cancer or something else. But, and we've all got to speak to each other, and, and obviously I got asked to be part of this campaign, which was part of a cervical cancer, like, awareness month and week. And it was literally all us women, I think there was 8 of us from across the UK. Yeah. And obviously all our stories were different, but they were all similar in that obviously we'd all sort of had the same treatment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff. But it was nice to sort of speak to people that understood it.
Get it, yeah. Yeah, because I know you've got a lot of support around you, but I guess no one knows unless they're in exactly the same situation how it was for you.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I think you find hard when you just don't, if you don't know anyone that's like gone through that or treatment, which I didn't know anyone that had gone through treatment, so I couldn't be like, oh, how was it, or how were you after, like I didn't know no one.
So you're going into it blind, really.
Yeah, so I do sort of wish I'd met all these people
when you were going through it.
It's like I've met them all now, obviously a year, if not nearly 2 years down the line.
Yeah.
And it's been lovely to meet them and hear all their stories, and obviously they've all been amazing themselves. And like I said before, like everyone's story is so different, but obviously, one thing we've all got in common is cervical cancer, but our stories are all so different.
Yeah.
And I think how we're all living now, and obviously, how everyone's living differently after.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's amazing though, because it makes it feel more real.
Yeah.
Hearing it from people like you and the 7 other women up and down the UK, when you hear them speak about their experience, I take it more on board that it's come from like a real person sitting there with their kids on the TV in the background or like in their living room doing their video than I would
a campaign on the telly.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
You know, with celebrities involved and stuff like that.
I was always one like that though, and I know it sounds quite bad, like I did always watch like these programmes, or you see the adverts, and I was always the one to just, it's in the background, you don't really pay attention, or you just flick past it. And I was always one of these, so that's why I think.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that I'm one of those that will see it on
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know.
And
blah,
you think it won't happen to you.
Exactly.
And I think that's the scariest part.
But when it's someone you know, that's scary.
Yeah, this hits home because you're close. Like your our age, we know you. Like we've got children. It's just like it hits home massively.
What advice could you give someone, Soph? Like girls our age, what advice could you give them moving forward? Like maybe that haven't been to have like their smear test on, or if they've got any of the symptoms that that you've experienced, or any questions in the back of their head.
I would probably say like obviously to go, but I do get it is that whole, and I do think that there's a lot of women out there that they're so anxious about going. They're like, no, that's it, I'm not going. But maybe if not, speak to someone. Like there is obviously like there's Joe Cervical Cancer Trust. Yes, there's like Macmillan.
Yeah.
like that I found as well, like I spoke to Macmillan a bit just before I had treatment, because I was a bit like, what do I expect? And it is like there's so many different people out there that will speak to you, or like myself, like I have found people through social media, or like anyone that's got any questions, I would answer them if I could help them. And I get this whole as well, a lot of people are afraid to say anything because I think they're embarrassed. And I think, like, don't be embarrassed. Like, you would rather get something checked that could sort of save your life than leave it and ignore it.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Right, guys, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you would like to get in touch with Sophie, you can find her on Instagram at sophiecharlotte.13. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube at mumhooduncensored_. If you have any questions that you want to direct to us, or if there's any topics you want us to cover, please email hello@mumhooduncensored.co.uk, and we will see you same time next week.
Sophie, you're my hero.
You literally are.
You're super mum as well. Like, you're amazing. But
Love
yes,
you, bye.
thank you. Love you, bye.